Every once in a while, you come across certain books that have the power to surprise you or shock you. They start on a very different note, on a very different level, and somewhere down the line, they completely go off tangent and make you stare and sit through in disbelief. Now, believe me or not, but Joy Datta's latest book, Wish I Could Tell You, was one such book that completely shocked me, that just changed the course of the story right in the middle of it. And today in this video, I have another book that is quite similar in that way. Hey guys, I am Sankalpita and you're watching BookGeeks India, which is a channel where I make book related videos. If you like books, if you love reading, make sure you subscribe to my channel, like and share my videos, turn that notification on. And guys, please do comment because you know it that I absolutely love it when you comment. In this video, I tell you about this book that I recently read. Well, not that recently, but yeah, I really remember it very well. So this is The God Who Loved Motorbikes by Murali K Menon. Now, this is a book that has such a gorgeous, beautiful cover that I am very sure the moment you set your eyes on this one, you will fall in love with it because I really did. Now, if you guys watch other Indian booktubers, you would remember Books on Toast talking about this book every now and then. And yes, I am here to talk about it too. And now, because I have a great deal to talk to you about, let's get on with the video. Expect a book that is set in a very beautiful and idyllic setting of a very sleepy little Malayali village. Expect a book that is everything about bikes. Expect a book that needs a different kind of classification for its genre. Call it absurdist fiction with a bit of magical realism, but you have to have a separate category for it. Expect a book that completely throws you off tangent in a very different direction altogether. And expect a book that is, in a way, a one of a kind read. The book is written in a rather simple language, but coming to the content, because of the content, I think people who are either intermediate level readers or voracious level readers are best suited to read it. I think bikers, people who absolutely love bikes, are passionate bikers, or kind of nerd about bikes. They should read this book because this is a book that talks about biking a lot, that talks about passion for biking a lot. So yeah, it would be a good fit for bikers who are also readers. The book is set in this beautiful Kerala village, a very sleepy Malayali village called Kolangode, which is beautiful because it is surrounded by cobalt blue hills, lush green paddy fields, swaying coconut fronds, and all things that make a beautiful coastal village. Now, in this village, there is this deity, a local deity called Kanda Karnan Swami. People worship him because he is the presiding deity of the village, and people flock to him like anything. But here's the catch, the DT is actually a real one. So he lives and thrives. Only thing is, people can't see him. And just like any one of us, he also has dreams and aspirations and his own struggles to figure out. Now, Kanda Karnan Swami exists. But he doesn't know the reason for his existence. He doesn't know why he was created, what is the purpose of his creation, what is he supposed to do with his life. He is immortal, he has discovered it through some very different and challenging circumstances, but he doesn't really know what to do with his life. Now, all that changes when one day Kanda Kandan Swami, now I will like to call him KK Swami because it's obviously more appealing and shorter. So, KK Swami's life changes when one day he sets his eyes on this beautiful, magnificent bike called Norton Dominator, and it is owned by this local guy called Koman Kutti. And in that fleeting moment, when he first sets his eyes on the bike, something changes in him. He discovers a passion that was never there. He discovers a burning desire for something that he wanted to make his. And that is how he decides to become friends with this guy called Koman Kutti. Now, this starts a lifelong relationship, a lifelong friendship, which both of them revel. And this also heralds the love affair which KK Swami will forever have with bikes. So this is a book about that, about KK Swami, about how he comes to know of this legendary, mythical, elusive bike which nobody has seen but only heard of, and how KK Swami decides to pursue it. So this is the story of KK Swami, his love for bikes, his passion for bikes, his quest for this elusive mythical bikes, and about everything bikes. Obviously, KK Swami is a character which you rarely come across in any book. Before this, I really couldn't imagine a story being written about a god with such humility and such nonchalance. You would only understand what I say when you read this book, because he's a god and yet he's so relatable, he's so normal like any of us. So that is what I loved about his character. There are certain other characters also, like Koman Kutti, who becomes his friend and who also is a wonderful character, because the way he treats KK Swami, not like a god but like any of his rowdy friends, is something of a read. It really is something. And then there is that elusive bike itself. There is this very strange character called Chaufin Singh, who is also elusive and mythical and legendary. So yeah, when it comes to this book, the characters are really good. Now, talking about the author's writing style, I think the book starts on a very, very interesting note. There's no denying that. Basically, the first 100 pages are amazing. If not 100, the first 80 pages are amazing, and that's about pretty much 40% of the book. It starts on a very interesting note. Like when it starts, you really cannot stop reading it. It's so good. But I don't know, halfway through the book, or like I said, 40% into the book, the story starts going into a different tangent altogether. It goes to a different level which does not really relate to the first part. So even though the author has not segregated parts, I am doing that because I think there are two stories in there, and somehow the connection which these two parts should have with each other was missing. Now, for those of you who are watching this review and who are keen to read this book, I just have one warning to issue to you. You may either love it or you may either hate it. I don't think there is an in between kind of thing when it comes to The God Who Loved Motorbikes. It is true that it is a very interesting read. It starts brilliantly, but it is also true that somehow it loses touch with reality. Somehow it loses grip on its own plot, and the magical realism initially is very good, but later stages it just goes haywire. So, yeah, like I told you, this book needs a category of itself. And if you ask me, I think I would call it absurdist fiction with a dash of magical realism. Now, what I love about this book is that it very aptly portrays somebody's passion for bikes. So, even for a non biker like me, it was not a difficult read. In fact, I pretty much enjoyed reading about a passionate biker. The second thing that I loved is that the god KK Swami is so much human like and so relatable as a character. Like I told you guys, the first half and the second half are totally different stories, are totally unrelated, unconnected, and it just goes like this. I would give you three reasons to pick this book up. Pick this book up if you like books that have a little bit of magical realism in them. Pick this book up if you are passionate about bikes or are a passionate biker. Pick this book up if you are willing to challenge yourself as a reader and maybe just stretch your boundaries a little bit. Skip this book if you don't like magical realism. Skip this book if you're not interested in bikes. Skip this book if you don't like books that somehow seem absurd. And finally, skip this book if you are somebody who looks for logic and rationality in every story that you read. If that's the case, then this is not a book meant for you. And that's it from me in this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to hit that like. Also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. In the comments below, don't forget to tell me about your current read. I am currently reading Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. Let me know what are you reading currently. And until the next video, which will be pretty soon, bye.